Drawing subtraction of vectors. Subtracting vectors is very similar to adding vectors. You'll just need to be careful of the signs and which vector your negative signs need to be on. The techniques to subtract two vectors are, first, to find the negative of the second vector, or the vector that you are subtracting off. Next, you add the vectors end to end, just as we did before. And finally, you can find the resultant vector and the magnitude of that vector, just as we did before. So the only new thing is we have to start by finding the negative of the second vector. Alright, so for this first example, we want to draw the resultant vector and find the magnitude. So we have vector v, which starts at 0, 0, it goes to 3, 2, so my vector v is going to be equal to 3 minus 0, which is 3, 2 minus 0, which is 2. Okay, so if I want to draw that vector, I could just always start whatever point I want, and then my first coordinate is going to indicate how far left or right I'm going to go. Second coordinate is going to go up or down. If it's positive, it goes up. Negative, it goes down. Positive x goes right. Negative x goes left. So positive 3 on the x, positive 2 on the y. So my vector v would look like that. And then my vector u is 4 minus 3, which is 1. 3 minus 0, which is 3. But we are now subtracting. So since we are subtracting, we need to take a negative u. So I'm going to switch the signs of my u. And now when I'm drawing that vector, I'm going to go to the left 1 from where I ended my first one. Left 1 and down 3. So that is the subtraction. So here is my v vector. Here is my negative u vector. So my resultant vector is right there. V minus u. So now if I were to mathematically find v minus u, I would take 3, 2 minus 1, 3, which would give me 3 minus 1, which is 2. 2 minus 3, which is negative 1. And if we look at our picture, is that what happened? We went to the right 2 and we went down 1. So yeah, that is what happened. That is your v minus u. Now I want to find the magnitude. So that's going to be the square root of 2 squared plus negative 1 squared. 2 squared is 4. Negative 1 squared is 1. Square root of 4 plus 1 is the square root of 5. So that makes the magnitude of v minus u the square root of 5. Alright, in this next one we have the u vector. Again, the u vector is going to be 4 minus 3, which is 1. 3 minus 0, which is 3. And we are subtracting off our w vector. So I want my negative w vector. So if I find my original w, 7 minus 5 is 2. 8 minus 7 is 1. But I wanted the negative w vector, so I'm going to add my negatives. Okay, and then I'm going to graph it. My u vector is going to start at the origin and go right 1, up 3. And that is my u vector. My w vector is going to go left 2 and down 1. That is my negative w vector. And my resultant vector is then going to go like that. And that's my u minus w. Okay, so now let's mathematically do that. U is 1, 3 minus 2, 1. And that's going to equal 1 minus 2, which is negative 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. So what that means is my u minus w vector should go left 1 and up 2. And that's what happens. So it must be correct. And now to find the magnitude, take the square root of negative 1 squared plus 2 squared. So my magnitude is going to equal the square root of 1 plus 4. So the magnitude of u minus w is going to equal the square root of 5. And this last example, my w vector is going to be 7 minus 5, which is 2, 8 minus 7, which is 1, and my negative t vector, because that's the one I'm subtracting off, is going to be 4 minus 1, which is 3, 5 minus 0, which is 5, and that's my negative vector, so I got to add my negative signs. And then I can graph those. So right 2 up 1, that is my w vector. My negative t vector is left 3 and down 5 from my original ending point. So that would be my negative t vector. So my resultant vector would look like that. W minus t. Alright, so w minus t equals 2, 1 minus 3, 5. W minus t equals 2 minus 3, which is a negative 1, which means we go left 1, which is correct. 1 minus 5 is negative 4, so that means we go down 4 from my original starting point. And that is also correct. So that's our final answer. And finally, the magnitude, take the square root of negative 1 squared plus this negative 4 squared. Square root of 1 plus 16. So the magnitude of w minus t is equal to the square root of 17. Final answer. That's it for your notes over drawing the subtraction of vectors. Same idea as addition, you just have to do the extra step of switching the signs of the second vector, and then it's the same. Go through some practice problems, and then you can take your quiz over this material.